Rosie on the house, every Arizona homeowner's best friend.
This is all about Arizona, Arizona, Arizona. And speaking of Arizona homeownership and Arizona contracting, I'm proud to announce that today, this particular hour, as we speak live right now, we have got the man. We have got the man in the house, the director of the Arizona Registrar of Contractors. Tom, I can't thank you enough for showing up, man. I know you're a busy guy.
Oh, Rosie, it's my pleasure to be here.
I try and protect Arizona homeowners, and the Registrar of Contractors is so different from what other states have. And it's a layer of protection. I would just like, how do you portray what y'all do? I loved your y'all's mission statement. By the way, compliments on the new website, man. It's awesome.
Well, we're very proud of the website. Between our website and portal and the Salesforce system that we employ to monitor and process our licenses, as well as all our other activities, we're cranking out licenses. Average time from application to license issue is about 6.5 days, which is pretty efficient.
Well, it's efficient in when the homeowner understands you're not just taking names, numbers, and a check.
That's absolutely correct.
There's a vetting process involved there.
That is the truth. We have an extensive process to make sure that Arizona contractors are bona fide, that they've got the work experience required, that they've got the background check pass. They're properly registered with the Corporation Commission if they're an LLC or other type of corporate entity. And then they have to be bonded and in many cases have to pass a trade exam to show that they're an expert in their field.
And in the parish I come from, in my home turf, I buy a pipe wrench and a plumbing snake, and I throw it in the back of my truck. I'm a plumber.
I understand that, and to some extent, we license entities. We don't license individual people. So it's if you're a sole proprietor, partnership, or a corporate entity, the entity's the what gets the license. You have to have a qualifying party for your business that has all those qualifications I just spoke of. But we do not license individual tradespeople in Arizona. So that is something different than some other states do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do want to say this. My middle son, William, who has lived in Portland, Oregon for 15 years. Romy, you got to take it.
No worries. And I'm not sure what he was going to ask, but I do know he got his license a couple months ago doing plumbing work down in Sierra Vista.
I think I can add to that.
Okay.
So William's been a plumber in Oregon for 20 years, just thankfully moved back, be close to family. But he did not pass that test the first time. It's hard. You really have to know your stuff. So I think Rosie was going to testify to how serious they take the licensing process.
I've never taken the plumbing test, but my son had been a plumber for 20 years, and he's a good plumber. He said, Dad, they really want to know if you know this stuff.
Well, we appreciate that
He was
testimonial.
impressed. He was impressed.
Yeah, now there are a limited number of licenses where you don't need to pass a trade exam. In some instances, you can swap experience in the field, bona fide, verifiable experience in the field for a trade exam, but those are very limited. Our 62 minor home improvement license is really kind of a handyman license for want of a better term. And in that instance, you just have to pass the one test that everybody that's going to be a contractor in Arizona has to pass, and that's the Arizona Statutes and Rules exam, SRE. Nobody can get away with becoming a contractor in Arizona without passing that. And that just gives every contractor a basic familiarity with Title 32, Chapter 10, the state law regarding being a contractor in Arizona.
What has to be in a contract?
Well, there's 9 elements to a contract, and I encourage folks to go into Title 32, Chapter 10, and look up the elements of a contract. To be lawful, there's 9 elements. Simple things like, the name of the contractor, the name of the customer, But you have things in there that you would normally expect in a common sense situation, and that's, scope of the work to be done, the timing of the work. It's never down to a fine, how it is.
Oh.
There's delays, there's supply chain issues, there's labor issues at times, but a general idea agreed upon on when the contract will be completed, the work will be done. Payment.
Schedule.
What's the schedule payment? There's a limited number of law requirements for scheduled payments. Pool contractors in particular have a regimen they have to follow. They have a limited amount they can ask for down, and they have progressive payments based on the progress of that project. But that's those red flag things, Rosie. If a contractor comes to you and asks for the full amount of that contract as a down payment, that's a big red flag. It's a big deal. But I really encourage you to go into, when you're getting into whether you're getting a remodel or a room addition or whatever work you're going to have done, get into our statutes and understand them better, because the 9 elements of a contract are often, there's elements that are often left off. You have to have a reference to the Registrar of Contractors in your contract. By law, you have to reference our contact information for that customer to make sure they know how to get a hold of us if they need to.
That's awesome. So y'all are doing a level of vetting just to make sure everyone just can't move here and become John Doe Plumbing, John Doe Electric, John Doe Air Conditioning Contractor, to represent themselves as a bona fide service, home repair service. They need to go through this vetting process that includes proof of financial bondability. They have to buy the bond. They have to take the work experience test, the statutes test, and then y'all have a work requirement in that field requirement as well, don't you?
In most of our scopes, there is a work experience requirement. It varies. A lot of them are 4 years. You look at electrical, for example. An electrical contractor has to have 4 years verifiable experience in the field, working at that level. Again, it varies from scope to scope. I think we're at around 130 different scopes at this point in the state of Arizona. So all those things you mentioned are important. The background check's essential. We go through that. And one thing I'll say about the background checks is Arizona is a second chance state. And across the board in this workforce development situation we find ourselves in, folks that have had entanglements with the corrections institution aren't necessarily barred from becoming contractors in the state of Arizona, but we have a very strict regimen to go through. The background check is the first step. It's very important. And then depending on those entanglements, we go through a very detailed vetting process to make sure that folks are being properly licensed.
How many licensed contractors do y'all? Well, what's the total count in Arizona?
So the number,
because y'all are statewide.
We're statewide, and again, to do construction work in the state of Arizona for anything of a value of over $1,000, and that's labor and materials. So maybe you can paint a bathroom. I don't know these days, Rosie, with costs going up the way they are. You have to be licensed. Even if it's less than $1,000 worth of work, if it has to be permitted by the local jurisdiction, you need to have a contractor's license. So at this point, I don't know the count of the companies, but we have over 59,000 active licenses.
Wow.
And that fluctuates, day to day, week to week, with renewals coming in, some contractors falling off the table. And but we're busy. We've had, I think in June, we had 625 new applications. That's not uncommon to be in that 500-600 applications a month. So we're humming along. And
a lot of homeowners don't know about the Registrar of Contractors until they have trouble, and then they have to start seeking recourse. How many complaints in those 60,000 licenses? How many complaints are generated in a year?
So that fluctuates. I think the numbers are something like 5% of our contractors will get one complaint against their license, and less than 1% will get multiple complaints. It's not, again, the numbers fluctuate somewhere between 7,000, maybe a little bit more complaints a year. And that's a combination of workmanship standard violations or alleged violations, and then complaints of unlicensed contracting that we investigate.
Now, y'all don't have jurisdiction over unlicensed contractors. I've always hoped you did, but I've always been led to believe y'all don't.
So it's a little more of a complicated answer than that, Rosie.
All right.
And I'll take a stab at it. We do have it is unlawful to enter into contracting without a license. The registrar does not have arrest powers, so I can't go out and arrest somebody for contracting without a license. It's a misdemeanor in the state of Arizona. I believe a class 1 misdemeanor to enter into construction without I don't like to call them contractors until they're licensed.
Right. Amen. Yeah.
So if you're an unlicensed entity out there engaged in unlawful construction activities, we most certainly investigate those cases. And once we determine that a law has been broken, we have a couple different recourses. We can issue a citation through our legal department.
Okay.
But we turn over, when we find cases of law breaking, in particular cases of fraud and theft in the construction industry, we work very closely with our local prosecutors, in particular county attorneys across the state of Arizona. We have a good working relationship with the Attorney General's office, working with the task force against senior abuse in particular. A lot of these ne'er-do-wells in construction are taking advantage of older folks, and so we're really keen to help on those investigations.
Joining us here at Rosie on the House, the director of the Arizona Registrar of Contractors, the man in the state of Arizona that's going to keep everything on the level. We appreciate the efforts of you. Is it an agency or a department? School me on that. What is it?
We are a cabinet-level agency.
Okay, all right.
And we're filled with departments that are working in the best interest of the citizens of Arizona.
All right. Let's talk about the best interests of the citizens of Arizona. Should we have a monsoon? And boy, I get videos from my son in Sierra Vista. They've had some real haboobs and some windstorms down there. I hope they find their way north of the Gila River and we get a taste of that sooner or later. But we invariably will have institutionalized storm chasers following us through there. If I suffer damage in a monsoon, how do I sort? I could get 10 unsolicited requests for repairs. How would you coach a homeowner?
Well, the first best thing you can do is get on our website, roc.az.gov.
Yes.
And we have a great search engine in there that will...
It's easy.
It's super easy to use, and it gives you a ton of information about the entity that has advertised to you that they're there to help you. You can find out if they have an active license. You can find out the discipline that they've had to that license over the last 2 years. So it's really important to vet those folks through our website. Anybody that has any questions or problems that they run into in their search efforts, will also take phone calls. And, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, the office is open. We like to take those customer service contacts between 8:30 and 4:30 if we can, just so we can, help people to the best of our ability. But we're here for you. And searching our website and database to make sure those folks are legitimate is the first step in getting a good contract. Get multiple bids. Don't settle in on one person. The word of mouth thing for your brother-in-law or your buddy at work is long-standing tradition, but it doesn't always end up with the best results. If you go with an unlicensed entity, you don't have those recourses. You don't have the safety protections.
No, nothing.
And we're also here to protect the reputation of the contractors as well. We're not just a public service consumer protection entity. We're here also to make sure that contractors get due process in this thing. You mentioned the monsoon, Rosie, and I just want to mention the disasters that happen in the state of Arizona. We've had some tough times. We're blessed compared to some other states. Obviously, what Texas is going through is remarkably bad. But our team goes into those areas like the Greer fire. Once the burn has been stabilized and it's safe to go into those areas, we go in and post signs warning locals, do not fall for these scams. Vet your contractors. So we'll post signs all over the community giving our information, how to contact us, and warning folks to be very careful when they're hiring these folks that come out of the woods when there's a disaster like that.
Oh, man. You know, we only have about another minute. I need to keep you for about 2 hours. We have so much to talk about. But I'm impressed with what y'all are doing to help recruit the future labor pool.
Well, workforce development is the biggest challenge facing the construction industry in the country, let alone, and Arizona's no exception. We're so busy in construction in Arizona. I'm told for every 4 craftspeople that are leaving the industry, only 1 is coming in to replace them. So we're very active. We have our own apprenticeship fair in April that I'll be glad to come back and talk to you about in detail when we circle back around next year. But things like Arizona Construction Career Days are coming up November 6th and 7th. It's a great opportunity for construction companies to interface with thousands and thousands of young people that are learning about what it means to be involved in the construction workforce. Our team's out on a weekly basis, whether it's career fairs at local high schools, whatever it is. We are very active in trying to promote the workforce development. Director
of the Arizona Registrar of Contractors, cabinet level agency. Can't express my appreciation for you coming in, but you got to come in more often.
I'd love to.
We got a lot more to cover.
I would love to, Greg.
Okay. Great.
Thank you.
Rosie on the house, every Arizona homeowner's best friend.